All those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Item number 2. Enterprise, grade 4. Good afternoon, Craig. Fritz.
Got it.
General Manager. The floor is yours.
Yes, nice to be here again. 6 months goes pretty quick. Just before we start, I'd just like to we've got a couple of our trustees here. I'd just like to introduce Jeff Thorpe, who's your representative on EGLT.
Pretty much it's in before. Just to remind you that I'm your rep. So if there are any questions that you'd like me to put to them or any feedback, more than happy to do that on your behalf, obviously. I'd love to catch up with the Mayor and the CEO as part of the feedback. Any other questions? Thank you, Jim.
So I understand due to the previous speakers, our time is now 2 minutes. So but we can do it. So just briefly, I mean, every opportunity I get, I certainly allowed with the praises of our current board. And I just thought I'd show you, remind you who they are. I think we have one vacancy at the moment, but just very quickly, I guess, along the top row, obviously Sue DeBever, the previous chair. Jeff, you've just met. Richard Wyeth, who's the CEO of Medaka, he's a deputy chair. Is he? Richard? Yeah. So that's the guy whose face is all around town on the Go magazine. So. Penny is representing the chamber. Down the second row there, Tom Finlay, myself, Daniel Britton, Torpia, who you met a little while ago when he presented about the trust board. Andrea Blair, that's a pretty cool photo of Andrea, Andy, and Bruce Bartley. And for some reason, Rake Taira has been reluctant to give us a photograph. I know this is this session is supposed to be a bit about our annual look back, I guess. We haven't put this in the presentation. You've had our annual report, so we'd just like to take it as read, and we've allowed time at the end, obviously, for any questions about it. So more looking forward, we had a very productive strategy session about 2 months ago where we had a good look at, well, where should we spend, where should we invest, I guess, for the region to get the best bang for bucks for economic development. And we broke it down into these sort of headings down the left there: grow existing businesses, really, attract new businesses, connection, which is predominantly around other regional development or economic development agencies. And then because we had a section there, there's some sort of central costs like the office, I guess, and the governance costs, we just had a section there managed. So our 3 focus areas are grow, attract, and connect. We then broke that down further into, so I guess you call it subheadings or focus areas. So entrepreneurs, small businesses under 5, medium, large, youth task force, media. Now these are all things that are in the contract with yourselves. So we're addressing them. I guess what we do is we get to establish how much of the resource goes on each of these. So as you can see there, I asked Fritz to cut the budget, or into these headings as opposed to simply wages, salaries, travel, etc. So we've allocated the budget to the various areas with a work plan behind each one. I guess one highlight there, you can see 47% of our plan for next year is to be spent on growing existing business. So it's a bit of a change in focus from last year, where we put quite a bit of resource into attracting particularly large industry players. We've still got that, I guess, that focus on, but a bit more emphasis this year on growing existing businesses. Because in a way, it's probably one of the easier things to do than to attract new businesses. Fritz is going to touch on specific things a bit later on. So that's a cut of our plan for this coming year. And when we cost that up, that effectively uses our annual type, I guess, budget plus quite a chunk of our surplus retained funds from previous years. So this will be our biggest year ever. And there's a fair bit of work to be done to achieve all these, to be honest. The next slide is just another look at it. I guess it's no different. It's just a different view. So maybe I'll just pass over to you, Fritz, on the specific programs.
Yep, I just wanted to touch on two programs and one project again that we have on this year, because it'll be good to let you in on what we're planning for this year. So one of the main things that we're looking to do next year, my board's always been wanting me to do this, and we just figured out the best way to do it. So we've always said we want to grow some of the medium business we have in this district, whereas in the past we spent a lot of time on the smaller businesses and some of the large scale ones. So this is the first time we're going to run a dedicated program that has an external facilitator. It's a year long. It's modeled on the Ice House. The gentleman who's running it, Darren McGarvey, is actually a facilitator for the Ice House out of Auckland. And we've had 28 applications of businesses that we wanted to look at, and we wanted them to grow like 3 times the speed to what they're currently growing. So 28 businesses have applied, and they're a really wide variety. Businesses that some of them we've never even heard of before, like we've got some retail, we've got some manufacturing. And then we had a panel. There was Greg Stebbing, there was Tom Finley, and the facilitator. Those 3 made the call on whose business came on. 15 got accepted to the program. It's a year-long program. It is free to them with a reverse pledge that if they bail on us, we will bill them the full cost. So the first meetings have been held, the group's been established, and it's kicking off in October. It's got some very robust business KPIs. The first time we're doing it, so we're watching very, very carefully if this is bang for our buck. So basically what we're going to be monitoring is done independently, so we're not going to see the actual dollar figures, but we're going to measure things like full-time employees, turnover, gross margins, and EBIT. And at the end of the course, in 1 year, and then the year after, we want to have those figures supplied to the independent party, and we want to see the growth numbers. And those numbers will be available to us, and we will make public. So it'll be good for us to measure if this is going to work or not. We believe it will. Never been done before, so we're going to look at this. The other one we are doing again. We've not done this before. We've took quite a bit of time to make sure we've got this right, because we are spending close to $100,000 in actual dollars on marketing, on this marketing campaign and an attraction program, and we've partnered with the existing landlords, because they are at the coalface of bringing business here, either in a lease form or in a sale form. So we've got a group of landlords, which is also includes the council representative Flash, who's got your assets at hand, and we've got Gary Traveller. There's pretty much all the bigger landlords and anybody who wanted to be part of it. And we are going to build a campaign. We're going to kick half of it in November. We're going to be carefully evaluate how that will go, and if it works well, we may have to modify it slightly. We will run the same again in March. It's a very targeted, niche campaign aimed mainly at manufacturing, because that will add employees that will make the population grow and add meaningful jobs that will then also help the retail side. We're cooperating with the hub agency, so TDC, with the Destination Great Lake Taupo. We're going to join on the field days and some shows. We're also going to very likely go to the manufacturing show in Christchurch. So we're targeting Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch, and the Hawke's Bay. And we're targeting magazines that are at that niche market, so Manufacturers New Zealand, Exporters New Zealand, that we want to attract. This is a very competitive space. Like a lot of the other agencies that I know very well, that in Rotorua and Tauranga are running similar campaigns to targeting much broader areas than we are, so we really focused down and narrowed it down to just the manufacturing. And it's very, very targeted at those. The other one I just want to briefly touch on is the Go magazine that had a resounding success last year, and we are going to repeat this next year. So it's going to be the second edition of the Go magazine, where we are going to go and invite industry to participate. Last year we've raised close to $68,000 through this, which made a fair chunk of our funding and made this possible. Without that, we couldn't have done it. And again, this is the first for Taupo in the region. We've never had a publication in the past that showcased what we had, helped our businesses that are here grow, attract new ones to come, but also foster a bit of civic pride, because I'm out there a lot in this district, and I talk to people and I say, did you know about Miraka? Have you heard about the UHT plant? Do you know about a Rylak and Turangi? And most people have no clue. So it's been well received by the business community, but we also had a lot of feedback from just the average ratepayer who came in and said, I picked this up at the barber shop or the cafe, and I think this is a great thing. I didn't even know half those things existed in our district. And with that, we'll be well ahead of time. I'll close and thank you for your support. And any questions?
Okay, any questions? Councillor Byrne. A couple if I may, please. The first one is on page 9 of the accounts balance sheet.
Do you have any provision for employee entitlements?
We have no employees. All contract.
And then the second question is on page 10. The second bullet point on the right-hand side. I think I understand it, but I would like to have some more clarity or expansion if I may. It may be employees that might want to answer that.
10 or 4 from the financials?
No, on page 10 of your report.
Oh,
No.
Just the bullet points
oh, sorry. Okay, I'll open that up.
relating to Bill. Where there are some serious concerns.
Page 10. Oh, this is your page 10. Sorry.
I'm sorry for being too efficient.
There's 2 10s.
Page 10.
Yeah, no, there's 2 lots of page 10s.
On the bullet point.
Oh, by the bill having the.
So it's regarding
Yeah.
that
So what's your question?
the
Can you just expand a little bit on that more? What the real serious concerns are and how we're going to deal with it?
I see what you mean.
energy.
It's the energy strategy. Okay. The Bay of Connections energy strategy in the past has been very, very split. They had 4 subsector groups. One of them being well-being. One of them was sustainable housing. One of them was, I don't even remember, but there certainly wasn't geothermal in the energy sector group. So the Bay of Connections has addressed that. They have done a review of the strategy and engaged Burl to look at that review, and their recommendations were to look very closely at what is the unique selling point this region has, and came back and saying geothermal is one of them. And obviously we already cooperate with Rotorua and Kawerau on our own on a trifecta basis. So I've just attended a meeting last week with Andy Blair at the government's meeting group, and they've now resolved to split the energy group into 2, put wellbeing to one side, which has nothing to do with us, and have the bulk of the funding directed at geothermal. Because all the other sector groups in the Bay of Connections are industry driven, and the energy group had no industry around the table. And that was a clear indication that it wasn't working. So they're going to reshape that entirely and start afresh. It's taken a while because you have to take 5 regions with you. But the other one too, I'll just briefly touch on this. The Bay of Connections is one of the only groups other than Northland that has been highlighted by Ministry of Business and Innovation and Enterprise, MB, with a special, like a task force that I sit on, and they've sent a contractor up from Wellington that Wellington is paying for to highlight opportunities in this region, and geothermal and aquaculture is right at the top of that list. So that is the one of the part of that Greg took during the Connect area that we connect with the Bay of Connections and Wellington and those groups. Yes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Sorry, this never works for me. I'm just very interested for your rationale. You talked about 2015, about attracting with a focus on manufacturing. What was the rationale behind that decision to focus on that sector? Maybe your previous discussion might talk to that too.
I think primarily around what are our natural advantages, perhaps, particularly geothermal, energy. We've got plenty of it, which is not the case all around the world at the moment. It's reasonably priced. It's not a showstopper. Not a showstopper. It's not a big swinging point for some industries. So more around what are our natural resources. We've got plenty of land. We've got plenty of energy. We're in the middle of the North Island, so we're on the main trunk line really. So I think that's probably the main logic.
The other logic behind that too is like retail, and I've spoke to this at the Business After 5 last week. Retail is really a function of the people that live here and the people that Destination Lake Taupo attract that come here. So if you want to grow the retail, or if you want to keep the town vibrant and make things happen, then you need to attract businesses that export things at least from the region and ideally even further out. And the classic examples are the ones that we like the most, which is like the carbon black guys, the UHT at Miaraka, the rosin plant, because they're going to create 20 more jobs that did not exist. And those 20 people will come to this region and go shopping and need a haircut. Even Luke Boddington down in Rafting, New Zealand, the Rylocks, they're not just selling to Turangi, they're selling outside the region. They have 18 staff, they all need to eat, they all need to get a haircut, they all need to get a massage and a pampering package.
Thanks. Yeah, through the chair.
Sorry, Councillor Williamson.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Just on page 1 of the performance measures, just regarding, just curious if you expand on the increasing number of sort of WINS referrals. Can you elaborate? See that as a significant part of your role, or on the admittedly it's in the fourth quarter, so it's only just very recent. But can you elaborate on what you see that as?
Well, this was a highlight that we've put in there, saying that we've spread ourselves further and wider. That we now have people that refer to us. So what WINS has done, they're now trying to preload a lot of their payouts, I guess, that they're more willing to help businesses get started with people that are not getting a job, and we've probably had 5 or 6 in that one quarter, and I'll just highlight that as a thing that's happened to us, which we never even thought we would go down that track. And I think one of those businesses is off the ground and up and running.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks, Greg and Fitz. I don't know whether it's in your portfolio, but is there any sort of incentives that you can perhaps do with regards to the empty shops in the CBD? You know, there's a lot of shops that are just not getting released. Any ideas on perhaps how even the council can be involved, or I don't know. It concerns me that we've got a lot of empty shops.
Fritz will have more detail, but it's been quite a hot topic in the last 2 months. The Chamber raised it with us and asked, basically saying, what are you guys doing about this? Us and DGLT. And I guess, one key factor is, unfortunately, is that, well, not unfortunately, it's fortunate, there is actually less empty space now than there was 2 years ago. But it's highly visible. You know, they're on the same bloody corner almost, opposite each other. But I mean, there was discussion around talking to landlords as well. I mean, sometimes you do hear situations that's quite prohibitive in the town. Anything else specific that's?
The things I would notice that we gratefully accept the rate exemption for 10 years that you've offered. No, but as Greg was saying, like, we actually looked at some of the numbers that council supplied, and there's been about 2,000 square meters more rented than 2 years ago. So unfortunately, the ANZ and obviously the Avanti store, that is very, very visible. But one of them is being relet, so is the Mitre 10. And also the new build of existing retail for this town is staggering. So, and I mean, the Mitre 10 is 5,000 square meters alone, and they just vacated up in the middle, which I suspect town got a little bit ahead of itself here and built more than what it needed. And unfortunately, that's visible, and we're looking at remedying as much as we can. So that is one of the things we're tackling in that attraction package. We're not targeting retail, but if a retailer will come along that will fit, then we'll certainly take them.
And Fritz certainly has discussions quite regularly with the likes of the Rod and Gun and Glass and some of those bigger chains, that we don't have here yet. So I guess without it being a big focus of EGLT, there are things going on.
Thank you.
Hi, I just wanted to say that with the monthly meetings we're now having down in Turangi with the organisations from the hub, and that it really is working for Turangi, and we really value that now we actually have your presence there, and so people have this change of mind that it's not all happening in Taupo. Things are coming for Turangi, and it is working. And so I just wanted to say that those monthly meetings are really important, and I thank you for the time that you spend to come. And the other times you're there, putting your energy in with Turangi, it really is working, so thank you.
That we really appreciate good feedback, because it's normally we get the bad news, but we do know from the feedback there that we're valued. So really, really appreciate that feedback. Thank you.
Chairman, we never give you bad feedback. It's soft on you. Just a couple of questions. Growth acceleration that you had. You see, you 28 applied, but only 15 were accepted. What was the? I might have missed that. What was the reason why 13?
We set some specific criteria around numbers of employees, and that was probably one of the bigger ones, the bigger criteria that eliminated a few. Their growth expectations. We actually probably put in more there than our original criteria allowed, Zane. Right. Yeah. Because we actually the cost of running this course is fixed, so it's not as if we paid extra for those people. What about the criteria?
Yep, we had employee length of like how long have you been established? So someone that was starting up was going to be automatically excluded. So they had to be in there at least 3 years and had solid records for 3 years. And we really, one of the things that the ISOS and the facilitator said to us, look, because these people will be working in a very close group together, they will be, in kind words, dropping their pants around their financials. So we wanted to make sure that the group that was there, that's a very crude term, but literally they need to expose a lot of their inner workings and financials that they'll probably be uncomfortable even exposing to people they know well. So we wanted to make sure that that group fit together. So we spent a lot of time making sure. So from Turangi, there is one accepted business. That's part of it.
So some of those that didn't qualify for this program got referred to, say, the mentor program. So it's not as if we said, no, you're out, go away.
Secondly, and it's really nothing to do with us, I suppose, but I noticed, I'm not having a can of worms, but your financial statements are prepared by one of your trustees. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, his firm, yeah.
I'd be happy to speak to that as well. Like there is actually a disclaimer further down in the financials, further on page 13, that we highlighted that fact. It's actually Becca Finley-Allen who prepares the accounts, and Tom Finley excluded himself from the preparation. So I actually deal with Jared Mawson on this issue. So he is my direct contact there.
Okay, one more question. Do you happen to have the net gain figure of employment for the district?
The net gain employment. No, we know that we increased by 200 people, and that our employment numbers are lower than the national average. But the net gain we do not have as a number, as a hard number. But we'd love to have. I mean, we've now spent almost 2 years on getting our head around on economic reporting, and we'd love some input from someone. I mean, we used Anthony Bayet. He's given us some great feedback there, and I think our reporting is reasonably robust, and we're about to roll out jointly with Taupo District Council and Destination Go Lake Taupo performance indicators for all of our hub agencies that will be vetted by credible people and will be published jointly. Starting Q2, be available end of January 2015.
Thank you. Just two questions. Firstly, the one in regards of the wood extraction plant, which is coming up in Mairo Street. What input did Enterprise have with that? Second question, did the trip to China to the sister city go ahead or not?
Water extraction plant when...
No, the resin.
Yes, correct.
What was involved with that?
So the resin extraction plant? Yeah. Oh, there's they were just we looked after Robert Power, who made the connection to those people.
So it's not an industry that Enterprise got from ground zero?
No, but most of the ones, I'd say, we would not go from ground zero, but we knew the people that were negotiating with Kaurau. They already had a consent there. They had a consent in Rotorua. They then came here looking for wood waste. We pointed them in the right direction, and Robert Power facilitated the arrangements there, and he made that happen.
Sister City visit?
Sister City visit?
No. Don't know anything about it.
Don't know anything about it. Sister City visit.
It states in your report, maintain relations with our Chinese sister city with visits planned for mid-2014 and hosted 2 delegations from China. Page 9, bottom right, bottom left.
Yeah, so I can speak to that. So what you're looking at is visits planned for 2014. So we've currently got the exhibition on at the museum, and we hosted the CCPPCC, I think. Is it? I think it's the Chinese consultant. Basically, it's the one of the political parties.
I apologise. It's just the wording where it states planned visits and then it says hosted. I took them to being 2 different things.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so hosting the 2 delegations is that we had other delegations from other areas in China who who have visited us, for example, the Shelson Group.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Greg, appreciate that, and thank you, Richard and Penny, for coming along today in support, and Chrissy, and the other team, Enterprise Lake Taupo. That's all the work that you do.